All right, welcome back. You made it for another episode. So we just, if you're following these episodes in sequence, you probably just came from the last episode we had, which was the challenge. Okay, and in that challenge we worked on time and space. All right, now let's continue with that example and that line of thinking. And what I want to do now is I want to take the spaces that we've created. So look, it's really important that you did that challenge or you understand how to containerize space, because we're going to build on that. All right, so if you haven't done that challenge, please go have a crack. Now, for today's challenge, let's take the space that we have, and I want to start to add objects in here. So let's see what this looks like. We'll just transition across here. All right, so we've got a few things. I'll make this a little bit bigger. All right, so we've got a few things going on here. I tweaked this just a little bit since the last video, but the containers are all there, right? So we've got our house, we've got our shower, local suburb, delivery van, we've got the depot, we've got a delivery van down here, house and online store. Now I just added these ones in here at the bottom. You don't have to have these, but if you want to put them in, that's fine too. All right, so let's assume that we're going to continue with this example where a delivery driver's come to your house and they've tried to deliver this package, and for whatever reason we weren't able to deliver the package, or the package wasn't able to get to you, and maybe it had something to do with that requirement for the signature. Let's now look at the next challenge, which is putting the objects in. All right, up here at the top, and again I'll make this a tiny bit bigger. Okay, so this was the first function that we started with for our top level effect, where the customer misses the delivery. All right, we're not doing this function yet. We're not going to create this whole function inside of this element. We're not doing that yet. But do you see here that we have an object called the customer, and we have here another object called delivery, which in this case is actually a conceptual object. All I want to start to do now is we look inside the space and we take an object, and we're going to put an object in here. We'll start with the first one, package. All right, that's at the top of my list here. So the question to you is, in this challenge, what are the objects? That's number one. Think of as many objects as you can, physical and conceptual objects. And remember, the object can be an attribute, okay, or it can be an entity. If this is a little bit confusing to you, go back and watch that video where we talk about defining objects. Okay? So, I want you to think of as many objects as you can, both physical and conceptual objects. That's part one. And then part two is, I want you to place the object into the space based on this timeline. Okay? So take this example of a package for a second. We've already listed package here. Okay, so we know there's a package. The package would be sitting at this point here, where the delivery driver rocks up in their van. The package is sitting here. But the package, if you go further back in time, the package is also going to sit back here in the depot, and it's going to get loaded into the delivery van at some point. It's actually probably going to sit here, and the van might be sitting here. So it depends upon how you represented this in time. You could show it here in the depot, or you can show the package hanging out there inside the delivery van. Okay, but the point is, I want you to think of, in the sequence that we've laid out for time and space, all of the objects. That's number one, as many as you can think of. And it's easier to think of them and then get rid of them later if you don't need them. But start by thinking of as many as you can, and then place those objects into this causal landscape diagram where we have containerized space. Okay, that's our challenge for today. All right, so I'll let you pause the video, take as much time as you need, really spend some meaningful time on this, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it takes for you to get a pretty good sense that you've captured all of the objects. And then again, have a crack at placing those objects in the containers. All right, we'll leave you at that for a few minutes. We'll pause the video there, and then we'll come back and we'll jump straight into this. Okay, welcome back. How did you go? do you think you've got most of the objects? Did you struggle with the difference between a physical object and a conceptual object? Did you get hung up on any of that? Sometimes that's a spot where it can be really confusing. What is an object? You know, like a unit of distance. Is that an object? What is that? Okay. So how about the containerization, placing these things into space, right? The containerization of space. Did you struggle with that at all? And when you did you come up with additional spaces that maybe you didn't have in the first place? Okay. Well, let's see how we go. I'm going to walk through this, and you get to see me again doing the thinking. I'm going to work on this. This is not pre-worked. I'm going to literally do it on the fly here in this video, and we'll see what we end up with. And I don't know, I may even need a revision myself, but let's see how we go, and then let's see how closely your example resembles this one. Okay, and then again, you know, wherever you get to in this example, if you get stuck, if you have questions, drop those in the comments. You know, that's what they're for, and I will look at those and I will answer those comments. All right, we'll just start with the list that we already have. Let me move this over just a tad bit. We'll start with the list we already have because, well, we've got a list here to work with, and then we'll gradually add to that. All right, that's what we've got. So we know we've got a package, and again, I'm just going to start at the top level, and I'll work my way back for now. Make a couple of blank ones here for myself. All right. All right, so package, yeah, I've got a package there. We'll definitely put the driver in here as an object. That's cool. And we're going to put the driver over here. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about the order. Don't worry about any of those functions for right now. We're just getting the objects. We've got the house. The house is a container. We've got you. So let's put you in there. We said are going to be sitting over here at maybe in the shower. Maybe you're in the back room. Maybe you're outside on the balcony. Who knows? You're somewhere. Signature. The signature, again, this is often a tough one for people, but look, it's already listed here. But the signature it's an object, it's a conceptual object, and at this point, it doesn't exist, right? It's missing. When we get into something called function attribute analysis, this would be a missing entity. If we look at the relationships, this would be one that we look at this dot with this dotted line over here would be missing. But for right now, let's include it. Let's drop it in over here. I might actually just move this over just a touch. There we go. Good enough. Don't worry about if everything lines up and all that stuff. You know, you could be sketching this out on a sketch pad. You could be doing it on a notebook. That's all fine. Signature, shower, we've got a space. PDA, whatever. It could just be device. It can be whatever you want to call it. That's going to be here as well. All right. That's pretty cool. Now let's start to think through what other objects we've got here. I don't necessarily think, actually let's put phone in here because I think, or actually we'll put phone, we'll also put computer. I'm just thinking about what's going on here, and is there a phone number that I've listed somewhere? And actually phone number can be listed as an object. Now you might want to call it contact details, whatever. So in that case, I'm thinking about this situation here. The customer misses delivery, right? So we missed the delivery. The delivery van is there. The delivery driver is there. And they're playing with the PDA. They've got a phone number. They knock on the door. You know what? Actually, that's a good point. I'll put the doorway in here. Let's get this out of the way. Make this a little bit bigger. Let's put door. And that's going to be actually sitting over here in the house. So we've got the door. We've got the phone, we've got the computer. I'm just thinking, so the delivery driver may ring us, hence why I've got the phone or the computer there. The computer might be there for me to access where the delivery is. I'm in the shower, or you're in the shower. Maybe in the back room. It depends how you laid out your thing. All that's happening in the house. Do we need anything else here? You know, you might have had something here where, you know, there could even be, you might have had a dog or something, maybe a dog barking. Oh, we also did mention that there was a doorbell. I think we mentioned there was a doorbell. So there's a doorbell here. What other objects do we have in here? That looks okay so far. So that's all kind of happening. I don't really need this, do I? It's all happening at this sort of time. Let me scroll to the left a bit so you can see. So that's happening just in this 2 minutes between where the delivery driver rocks up to our house and attempts to get in touch with us but can't, and then leaves. What other objects might we have in here? Okay, and again, this is first pass. This is our initial generation of objects. You know, this is going to be an interesting one here. You know, PDA, we've got phone number. You may, it kind of depends on the situation, but you may have, I'll move this over again. You may have some delivery details here. Yeah, you might have some delivery details. Looks pretty good. We can get rid of this thing. I don't need that. Quite a few objects there. Now, the question is, do we want to go further back in time? And I guess the question is, does anything that happened in the local suburb matter? This could matter if we're expecting the package to be delivered at a certain time frame, right? Now again, we can create the scenario in any such way that we want. In this scenario, if we said that we were expecting the package maybe between 8:30 and 9, what happened in the suburb and the transportation from the depot to your house may be important. Yeah, that's interesting. All right, so let's put let's put local traffic here. And again, you can include what you want here. I'm just thinking, the reason I put traffic, what I'm thinking is, what if traffic is normally quite heavy, okay? And so hence they gave us a window and they said that the delivery was going to happen between 8:30 and 9. But traffic is really light today. So when we get into the objects, remember we're thinking about an object as a dial, something that we can turn up and turn down. Traffic might normally be heavy, but today it's light, but it's still an object. Right? There's something there that has an effect potentially on the delivery. Ah, this is actually something that just came to mind. There's also going to be a route. Put that in there for now. The delivery driver is going to follow a route, aren't they? And that route is either going to be mapped out with a system or a piece of software they're using, or they might map their own route out, depends how they do it. But that route actually is going to link to this, and especially if that route, again, ties into the delivery times or the schedule in some way, shape, or form. So anyway, we'll add that route in. Local suburb, we'll put traffic in here, because I'm thinking about, again, light traffic. Let's go a little bit further back in time. You may, again, put the package itself down here. You might also get things in here such as, I don't know, again, whether it's important or not, we might drop it later, but things like the roster, or, you know, I don't know, you can call it the schedule, or you might even say schedule. I don't know if you're one of those people. So you've got the roster, you've got the schedule or the schedule. What other things do we want to include here in the depot? That, and again, it's things that we think are somehow tied into this. We go through something called convergence and divergence. Initially, when we're generating these ideas, we go quite wide. okay? And we go as wide as we can to sort of scoop up as many of the ideas as we can. Then we go through a few iterations where we go into function attribute analysis and doing what we're doing here with the causal landscape diagram, where we build our functions. When we build those functions, you'll see straight away some of these will fall away and some additional objects will need to be pulled in. But again, don't get sort of concerned if you have a bunch of random extra objects in here that you don't think go in here. Another important point, this is why it's so important to do a DILO, right? If we're just sitting in our house, we have no idea what the van inside of the van looks like, what the system looks like, what the depot looks like, what traffic looks like. But if you were an improvement consultant and you went on a DILO, you would see most of this because you might be doing a ride along, right? So just keep that in mind. All right, depot. Anything else important in here? I don't know, but I think there's going to be a sort process that happens, and something about the sort could affect the placement of that package in the van. It could affect the time that the delivery driver gets out. Actually, I use this one. So that might be something you include. I don't know. Could be sort, could be sorting process, could be whatever you want it to be. Let's go a little bit further back in time. What's happening with the online store? So if I'm placing an order, I'm probably going to need a computer unless I'm using a mobile device. So that's going to be happening. This online store does not need to be that big. Depends what we're going to do with it. So I've got a computer. And again, your computer, you could maybe containerize. It depends what you want to do. But you've got your container. You've got the item that you want to purchase. You're dealing with, and again, that item at that point is a conceptual object. It's in a shopping cart or something like that. We'll put it over here. You've probably got your credit card details, something like that. You would probably even have, let's put this up here. You might even have something like your, we've definitely got that. You're there because you're going to be placing all the orders. You're going to be doing all the work. You're going to have a desire or a need or something like that in here as well. Again, that might get dropped off. I don't know, but we'll just put it in there for now just so you can see it as an object. So the online store, you've got the item. I don't know what other stuff is relevant. We did talk about this opportunity for a signature. So maybe there are some, delivery. No, how about delivery? Delivery deets. All right, delivery details. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay. So we've got our delivery deets. We've got the item. That's okay. And again, you're going to go into more detail or less detail depending upon what you want to do. This section here, you may not have gone this far back in time. You may not have thought it was important. It's okay if you didn't get there, but I'm just showing you what it would look like if we did go further back. Okay, so let's pop up back here to the top. I think this is pretty good. Again, this is all about iteration. So when you go through and you do this first pass, if you find out that you missed stuff, it's okay. It will come out when we start building functions. But you just need a starting place, right? So this is our first pass. Let's list all the objects out, and then let's start building our functions. Now, back to you. How did you go? Did you get all of these objects? Did you get more objects? Were there things that I missed that are glaringly obvious that I should have included? Probably. What else? Okay, not bad for a first pass, I think. Do you feel more comfortable with that now? Any thoughts, questions, ideas you have, put them in the comments, okay? So I think let's take this now. Now you understand through your challenge, you've gone in, you've containerized space, you've laid it out as it's moving through time, the different spaces. You've now gone and you've grabbed your objects and you've mapped your objects into space. Okay, so you've got a big chunk there. So I think the next thing for us to start looking at is the creation of our functions, right? Or our elements. So we're going to look at taking these objects and putting them into an element. Ooh, this is going to be where it starts to sort of hit that that really steep incline. Anyway, I hope this is helpful. Let's now take this and head into the next challenge and see how we go.